శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః శ్రీ పరమ గురుభ్యో నమః శ్రీమద్ ఆనంద తీర్థ భగవత్ పాదాచార్య గురుభ్యో నమః శ్రీ రాఘవేంద్ర తీర్థ గురుభ్యో నమః హరి ఓం. After paying sincere obeisance at the feet of the present pontiff of Sri Raghavendra Swami Mutt, Sri Subhadendra Tirtha Swamiji, we continue this lessons series on Bhagavadgita. As mentioned earlier, we strictly follow the Gitartha Sangraha of Raghavendra Swami, Gita Vivriti or Gitartha Sangraha. What is called as Gitartha Sangraha, the same is called as Gita Vivriti. There is some merit in reading the Gitartha Sangraha, the words that have come from the lotus-like mouth of Sri Raghavendra Swami. Guru Stotra says, Tava Sankirtanam Veda Shastrartha Jnana Siddhaye. That means we take your name Om Sri Raghavendraya Namaha. That also means we utter the words uttered by you. Tava Sankirtanam. That means whatever you have written, we again read it and ruminate over it and think about it. That enables us to get the knowledge about the Shastras. So with that purpose in view, we can read the sentences of Raghavendra Swamigalu in Gita Vivriti and other commentaries and get the knowledge. And similarly, the statement that Deepa Sanyojanat Jnanam, by having the relationship between the Bhagavadgitas and the original works, we will get Jnana. So Raghavendra Swamiji's Granthas are all meant to provide the Jnana. That is why they become the causal factors for realizing Bhagavad Sakshatkara, Aparoksha Jnana and ultimately Moksha. Now we are on the 16th sloka. Na sato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sataha ubhayorapi drashtontastvanayo's tattvadarshibhihi. One meaning of this we have already said, asataha bhavaha na vidyate. That means asat karma. From asat karma, bhavaha means sukha, na vidyate. Because Arjuna had said, papame vasred asman hatvaita natatainaha. By killing these bandhavas of ours, even though they are atatais, if I kill them, because they are bandhavas, I get papa. The papa gets afflicted to me. For that, the answer he is giving. Because Krishna is now in the process of removing the misunderstandings, the misconceptions of Arjuna, so that he does not have the shoka, and then once he does not have the shoka, he would not have the weakness of the mind. Once he does not have weakness of the mind, he would not have the aptitude not to do anything, and then he can be induced to perform his karma, ashrama vihita karma, that is Kshatriya dharma vihita karma. So Kshatriya dharma, Kshatriya ashrama dharma karma is yuddha. And yuddha means Narayana Dvit Tadanubandhi Nigraha Rupa Satkarma. It is a good deed because it controls, it eliminates, it destroys the haters of Narayana. Vishnu Dveshi's killing is appropriate. And then their Anubandhi, their relatives, their supporters, their bandwagon, that should be. So asataha bhavaha na vidyate. By doing wrong deed, asat karma, then there is no sukha. Then sataha abhavaha na vidyate. For good deed, there is no dukkha by performing good deed. So it is a sat karma. Yuddha is sat karma. By doing this, you would never get dukkha. Not only dukkha in this world, but also paraloka dukkha. Paraloka dukkha also would not be there. How do you know this? Ubhayoho anayoho antaha tattvadarshibhihi drishta. Ubhayoho api anayoho tattvadarshibhihi antaha drishta. For both of these, what are the both? Sat and asat karma. And then for sat karma, there is no dukkha. Sat karma leads to sukha. and asat karma does not lead to sukha, it leads to dukkha. So by doing asat karma, sukha is not there. By doing sat karma, dukkha is not there. That is this antaha, this final verdict, final decision is known by the tattvadarshis, but the knowledgeable people, those who are Mahatmas, and this is known. And Satkarmanaha dukkham nasti asatkarmanaha sukham va nasti tanayoho arthayoho nirnayaka upadesha parampara bhuta sampradayaha. Rayaru says antaha would means, how do you know this? Mahatmas know this means what? They are doing, they are engaged in tattvopadesha. What kind of tattvopadesha? This artha nirnaya. Arthayoho nirnayaka upadesha parampara. Elders have said this, and then the elders have said, the elders to them have said it, gurus have said, and his guru has said. This is the parampara. This is the tradition. Guru's tradition would be acceptable only when it is done by good people. So, nirnayaka upadesha parampara rupa sampradaya. That becomes a sampradaya. Sampradaya of the family. Father has done it, forefathers have done it, and the elders have said this. That kind of sampradaya has been known by the Mahatmas. This is the first inference. Another one is asataha. Asataha means, asat, when the karya is there, when ghata is there, karana would not be there. Therefore, asat is not existing. That is karana. Karanasya, what is the karana for the entire world? Prakriti. Asataha, now we have to do the padacheda in a different way. Na asataha vidyate abhavaha. Gets lopa. If we give an avagraha chinna there, it becomes abhavaha. Asataha abhavaha na vidyate. Sataha abhavaha na vidyate. Upayoho api antaha anayoho antaha tattvadarshibhi drishtaha. That remains the same. Now, asataha abhavaha na vidyate. Asat is prakriti, there is no abhava to it. That means it will not be having pradhvamsabhava, pragabhava. There are three types of abhavas: pragabhava, pradhvamsabhava, anyonyabhava. Anyonyabhava is not relevant here. So pragabhava, pradhvamsabhava. Pragabhava means existing, not existing before the object is born. When ghata is not created, when the potter does not create the ghata, the ghata pragabhava exists. This is the beauty of knowledge in Sanskrit and the Shastra literature. When ghata does not exist, something exists. What exists? Ghata pragabhava exists. And then when ghata gets destroyed, when it gets broken, something exists. What exists? Pradhvamsa bhava exists. Pradhvamsa rupi abhava. Prak rupi abhava. So, pragabhava, pradhvamsabhava, these abhavas are not there. That means it is nitya. Prakriti is anadi nitya. And similarly, sataha means brahmanaha. Brahma, sat, om ityekaksharam brahma, om tatsaditi brahmanaha nirdeshaha. That comes in Bhagavadgita. Om, tat, sat, all these refer to Brahma, Parabrahma, Vishnu. So, sataha abhavaha na vidyate. That means Brahma has no end, has no nasha. Chaturvida nasha he does not have. Anityatvam dehahanihi dukkha praptihi apurnata. These nashas he does not have. Therefore, he is, and then he does not have pragabhava, pradhvamsabhava are not there at all, because he is always there. Brahma is always there. Therefore, Brahma is also nitya and Prakriti is also nitya. Now, for making the deha nityatva, for that Krishna first said that deha is nitya because the nattvevaham jatu nasam nattvam nevimejanadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. He said that it is not that I did not exist earlier, it is not that you did not exist earlier, It is not that all these kings did not exist earlier, and it's not that we will not exist in the future. It's not that all of us do not exist in the future. It's not that. That means we all existed in the past and exist in the future. So here there is, for getting authentic knowledge, there are three instrumentalities. One is pratyaksha, another is anumana, and third is agama. Pratyaksha means if we see a thing, we get the authentic knowledge. We see a cow and then we consider that it is a cow. We see a chip and then go near it and then find that it is not silver, we get authentic knowledge. So the pratyaksha is one instrumentality for authentication of knowledge. Second is anumana, by inference. And third is agama, by having the statements of the elders, the statements of the shastras, statements of the shrutis, the smritis, and parampara. All these become agamas, and they are not to be seen, and they are to be heard. And therefore these three sources of authentication have to be given as pramana for any statement. Here, for the Natvevaham is based upon Krishna's statement, but there is also anumana there. Anumana, he makes it two types of anumana. Jivaha, Krishna Tvadadi Chetanaha, na nashavantaha, Krishna Tvadadi Chetanaha, na nashavantaha, bhavatvesati anaditvat, bhavatvesati anaditvat, prakritivat. Prakriti nasataha, here prakriti is also nitya. So prakriti becomes drishtanta. In the anumana there are three wings. One is called pratijna, and then another is hetu, third is udaharana, and then upanaya nigamana. When we see a smoke in the forest, we infer that there must be fire in it. How? We see the smoke in the kitchen and there is fire. Of course, in the modern kitchens of gas stoves, we don't see smoke. But in the earlier chula and firewood, smokes used to exist. And therefore, and wherever there is smoke, there is fire. This is the inference. So in the same way here, we get the drishtanta is required for establishing an inference. And here, what is the drishtanta? Krishna Tvadadi Chetanaha Nanashavantaha is pratijna. Krishna and all of you Chetanas do not have nasha. And why? Because bhavatvesati anaditvat, they are all existing and also they are anadi. Therefore they are nitya. And how that is another bhava and anadi example has to be given. There is no, first they raise an objection, there is no drishtanta to this. So to give drishtanta to this inferential statement, Prakriti is now given. Prakriti is nitya and therefore it becomes the drishtanta. Karanasya Pragukta anaditva anumane Rayara Vakya. Raghavendra Swami's Pragukta anaditva anumane Vyapti sadbhave adara suchanartham pradhamsachana vidyate satah brahman. Therefore anadi nityasya manabhavena abhavadityataha ittataha annadapi anadinityam etadapi anena uchyate. There is another anadinitya, that is Prakriti. Therefore in this, and then in the second inferential statement, there is Twadadayaha Janadhipaha Nanashavantaha Chetanatve Anaditvat Krishnavat. Krishna becomes the drishtanta. So the second, how Krishna is anadi nitya, chetana anadi, that is here it is stated that Krishna also does not have abhava, Bhagavadgita, Pradhamsabhava and Nasha, all these are not existing for him. So for the second type of inferential statement, Krishna is given as an example, and justification for that is mentioned here, that Sat Karak does not have. For this they give the Vishnu Purana and Sutras as evidences. Prakriti Purushachaiva Nityo Kalascha Sattamaha Ityagamaha Atra Arthe Manatvena Samuchiyate. That is what Narahari Tirtha says. So therefore this sloka is meant to give a broad meaning first, that the asat karma does not lead to sukha, sat karma does not give any dukkha, and what you are doing is sat karma, so that will not give you dukkha. Bandhu hananadi rupa yuddhat paraloka dukkha. Not only dukkha in this world, by abhimana tyagena you won't get that also. By giving up abhimana, you don't have ihaloka dukkha. And paraloka dukkha also by getting knowledge about Brahma, Purusha, Samadukha Sukha, Dhira. By becoming this, you would not have the paraloka dukkha, and you will become eligible for amritatvaya. You become eligible for the moksha. That's what was stated earlier. And now in this, for that inferential statements, we say that there are drishtanta is there. It's a bit technical, but we have to know the technical reasonings for making the statement. Still we are in the process of establishing that Jiva is Nitya. Jiva does not have any destruction except Dehanasha, Dukkha Prapti, Apurnata. Jiva is Nitya, so we cannot. The first point was, you are remorsing over those who are not to be remorsed. Ashochananvashochastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase. Then you talk big things, and you talk things which are not acceptable by the prajnas. Then so gatasu nagatasu muscha nanushocanti panditaha. That itself, Arjuna, Krishna is now in the process of removing the moha of Arjuna, and for doing that he is systematically moving. He asked the question, do you remorse because Jiva gets destroyed? Do you remorse because Deha gets destroyed? Do you remorse because Jiva and Deha are the same? If anything is lost, we feel sorry for it. Do you remorse because Deha gets lost? If Deha gets lost, you get another Deha, bigger, better Deha. No, I will not be able to see them. Then for Sukha and Dukkha, the persons being in front of you with Deha is not the causal factor. The fact that you have Abhimana, Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya Sitoshna Sukha Dukkhadaha Agama Apayanaha Anityaha Tamstiti Kshasva Bharata. So he invokes him to give up Abhimana for giving up the Ihaloka Dukkha. If you don't have Abhimana, as I said, whenever we see on the television many people dying, then their relatives are crying, they are beating their chest and crying, we don't get that much of dukkha. We feel sad about it a little bit, but because they have the Abhimana, they get the remorse. If we give up Abhimana, then you don't feel at all. So when in the fighting, in the war, if you kill the enemy, you don't feel remorse. You have killed a wrongdoer. You have killed an opponent, and therefore you feel happy about it. On the other hand, but anyway, sukha and dukkha do not come by the contact of the sense organs with the objects, but they come as a result of the abhimana. If abhimana is there, the sukha dukkha come. If abhimana is not there, sukha dukkha do not come. Agama apayanaha, therefore anitya. Therefore, by giving up sukha, you make them vifalikuru, you make them futile, make the contacts of the sense organs with the objects futile by giving up the abhimana, and by giving up the abhimana you will not get sukha and dukkha, and therefore ihaloka dukkha and ihaloka sukha can be avoided by giving up abhimana. Then paraloka dukkha and paraloka sukha, paraloka sukha is there, paraloka dukkha can be obtained, can be avoided, paraloka dukkha can be avoided when you become purusha, that is brahmajnani, sharira darshanavan. When you become samadukha sukha, that means you do not, you consider dukkha as equivalent to sukha, also equivalent to dukkha, dukkha also equivalent to sukha, and then dhira, you are having knowledge about the whole process, and then you become samrtatvaya kalpati. So if you do not have abhimana, you can avoid the ihaloka dukkha, and if you have brahmajnana and equanimity between sukha and dukkha by practicing by sharira darshana, and then you will be eligible for moksha. So both ways you are. And then again he raises the question as to why sukha dukkha, why do you say they won't come? Because there is papa in killing the relative. Then for that he says killing the relative is not bad, because you are doing your varnashrama dharma. Performing varnashrama dharma, yuddha, that is narayana dvit tadanubandhi nigraha rupa, that is satkarma. Therefore there is no dukkha for it, and for asatkarma there would not be any sukha for it. Nasato vidyate bhava. That is one meaning. And another is to say that prakriti is the nitya vastu, and therefore the prakriti becomes the drishtanta in the anumana. Krishna tvadadi chetanaha nanashavantaha bhavatvesati anaditvat prakritivat. Then in the next sloka again he continues to say that there are many other drishtantas like akaradi varnajata and avyakrita akasha, they are also nitya, and therefore the anumana becomes valid. Only when the drishtanta is there, anumana becomes a valid, a justifiable, authenticating source of knowledge, authenticating evidence. Therefore pratijna, hetu, udaharana, these are very essential parts of an anumana. We say parvato vanhiman dhumat. The distant parvata has got the vanhi because there is dhuma. Then yatra dhumaha tatra vanhihi. Therefore parvato vanhiman is pratijna. Then dhumat is hetu. Udaharana yatha mahanasa. Yatha as firewood based kitchen, not gas based kitchen. Like that we see dhuma there and there is fire there. And in the same way, so this becomes a very authenticating pramana. Anumana becomes the authenticating pramana for knowledge. And therefore now in trying to prove that jiva is nitya, he has used anumana, and he now argues that anumana is a very perfect anumana without any blemishes or without any shortcomings, and that is the inference. And once he proves jiva is nitya, then he jumps to the conclusion that you should not remorse over it, and another deha comes, and therefore you should start doing your yuddha, your varnashrama vihita karma. We'll stop here. Yatra Yogeshwarah Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutihi, Dhruvani Tirmatirmama, Sri Krishnarpanamastu. There is a great joy in learning Bhagavadgita in detail on the basis of Gitartha Sangraha or Gita Vivriti, and also reading the words of Raghavendra Swamigalu. Tava Sankirtana. Sankirtana does not just mean only saying Om Sri Raghavendra Namaha, Om Sri Raghavendra Namaha. That also means reading the words coming out of the lotus-like mouth of Raghavendra Swamigalu, of lotus-like pen of Raghavendra Swamigalu. Tava Sankirtanam Ved Shastrartha Jnana Siddhi. That, as I said earlier, has to be understood, and Rayaru does not give only the pavadas, the miracles of giving a son or giving a promotion or giving a good health and so on. He does that for the physical world, but also he does give jnana and enables us to realize moksha. And here, in a systematic way, he is moving to remove the misunderstandings. So in the modern management science, removing misunderstanding has to be the first step in trying to persuade a truant officer, a truant child to perform his functions. If a child is not performing his duty of studying, and if he is truant, if he does not disobey you, and then you have to go to the source for this attitude and remove those sources from his mind, then only he will be a good boy, rather than beating him or taking recourse to rebuking him acutely. Rebuke you have to do a little bit, but later on you have to prop him up properly to enable him to think himself and commit himself to his performance of duties. So we keep on giving the inferences for the modern world, for the management science, whenever there is occasion. So we will stop here. Atra Yogeshwarah Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutihi Dhruvani Tirma Tirmama Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.